Welcome back with our guests today, Karen and Wendy. We've been talking about continuity of care at the hospital and what that really means. So let's talk a little bit further about, initially when we were talking at the break, we were talking about the fact you're both registered nurses and how much the role of nursing has changed over the years. Karen, why don't you start with when you first came into nursing, okay, it was pretty much all, it was going to be patient bedside care, I guess.
Yes. I've been a registered nurse for 31 years. Oh my gosh, I can't believe when I say that out loud.
You must have started when you were 10.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry to say that.
Youngest nurse in history.
But when I graduated from college, pretty much you worked direct patient care. Mm-hmm. I graduated from a BSN program, so I had a little management training in my nurse's training with the goal of getting into management. So you either did bedside nursing or you worked in management in a hospital. But over the years, and part of it has been because of some of the things going on in the government with healthcare, but some additional roles developed, case management being one of them, yeah. Clinical documentation being another one. And I got into case management in 1995, and it was a fairly new field then. From that, I worked with insurance companies and in hospitals before I came to BRMC. So there's just so much you can do just alone in that field. Mm-hmm. And then probably about how long ago, clinical documentation, maybe 10 years?
Mm-hmm. It's been 10 years.
Clinical documentation came up as a nursing specialty. And both case management and clinical documentation specialists, you have to have some amount of nursing experience to get it to be successful in these roles. Mm-hmm. They're not for someone just coming out of school. But
right.
Yeah, I've been a nurse 20 years, not quite as long as Karen. And when I graduated, I went to surgery, and everybody said that was not a regular nursing role. So when I came out of surgery, it's like bizarre.
Okay,
You're not at the bedside, so you can't be a nurse. And so then I came to case management back in 2000 at BRMC, and basically learned all of my case management from the other people that worked there. And then when Karen came, being certified, she brought a lot of experience that we've drawn on. And then my love is the documentation. I just really enjoy that piece of it. It's kind of like putting pieces of a puzzle together.
Yeah, and it's got to be very rewarding to know. I mean, you spend time with these patients, and they're not numbers. They're real life people
Correct.
That you want to help. You've been at it for so long, I'm sure you can see the pitfalls if they don't have the help at home that they might fall into. So you want to make sure that they have exactly what it is that will help them on that complete road to recovery. So,
well,
very worthwhile.
Yes.
In with case management, so many people come into the hospital and they don't have family in the area. They don't have really anyone to help them as they work through the continuum of care. And again, that's where the advocacy comes in. And recently, as I had told you the other day, with my mother having a stroke in Tulsa, and I moved her here to BRMC because I could not get cooperation with the hospital where she was for the services she needed. And so the case manager daughter kicked in. But a lot of people, and even if you do have family in the area, if you don't know how to work through the healthcare system, it's so complex. And there's so many rules that are outside of the control of the hospital or the physicians. It can be so overwhelming during that stressful time. So,
I know that there was a resource guide that came out of the Muruck Family Education Center on Aging that Nancy Svela, I believe, when she was the coordinator there, had put together, and I think that's been a useful tool with all the resources that are available in the area for assisted living, for Alzheimer's, for home health agencies. any kind of aftercare. So, and I know that that's available free for anyone that wants to stop by the Muroc Education Center to pick up. So there are tools there, but as you say, it's like a child's game of mousetrap. Trying to wend your way through. Who do you call? Until you're put in that situation as a family member or a patient, you've never thought about it.
That's
so
right.
Who do I call? What do I do? So it's absolutely, I could see where it's come from, how these various new departments have been created and why they're necessary as healthcare changes. And of course it's going to change again, and we're not sure how.
Exactly.
Don't know. But
nursing is such a broad profession now. There are so many things you can do in nursing, case management, clinical documentation being two of them. But I always really promote nursing with people looking for a career, because it is truly a career where you come out of college, you can make a living, get a job pretty much in so many different areas. You are always going to have a job. And plus it's rewarding.
Right.
That's the main thing. It's a rewarding career.
And no matter what capacity you're in, it's very rewarding.
It's very rewarding.
And I know with electronic medical records, that's something the government has stated all hospitals need to do and have up and running, I think, by 2014.
Yes, I believe it's 2014.
And of course, we're way ahead of the curve. Yay, BRMC!
Yes.
Well, the folks had foresight. Our leaders at the hospital definitely had foresight, and it's been, I think it's been about 10 years from the initial concept,
yes.
and then building, like building a house, and I think we're up to about, maybe the house is framed and about ready to move in.
About ready to move in. And Wendy, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because Wendy was actually our department's representative in developing the electronic medical record, and that is a new area of nursing as well.
Yes, clinical informatics is a very new area for nursing, and it was a completely different aspect of nursing for me, one that I loved. I'm not a gadget or a techie by any manner of means, but I love.
You're a computer geek, Wendy. Come on.
Try not to broadcast that, but I did really enjoy seeing that other side of it and trying to figure out, how do we get an order from the physician to the right department, and all of the things that happen on the background of when they just put an order in. Where does it go? Where does it route to? What kind of rules the computer has to have to get it to the right department? So there really is quite a big involvement there, that you have to have a clinical knowledge as well as kind of a
And it's fascinating. It's
Yes.
just absolutely fascinating, and I know we've brought our pharmacy into it, and as you say, Karen, there's so much going on behind the scenes of patient care that people do not realize whatsoever.
Correct.
Yes.
And I mean, it's the making sure the right medication at the right time for the right patient, and I mean, just there's all sorts of safety nets
Yes.
in play and to make sure, but it's all behind the scenes, and it's a great deal of it is all electronic now. So
Yes, and
Yes, it
thank
really
goodness
is.
we had Wendy, because that is way over my head, and she is the go-to person
yeah,
for that. So thank goodness. I
Thank you for
appreciate
Karen.
that.
I do have my job security.
Job security when it comes to the computer.
yeah,
But along with that, with the patient being the center, of course,
Sure.
of everything we do,
right.
all those other pieces have to come together, because if the computer is not working right, then the orders don't get transmitted and carried out, and things start to fall, potentially can fall apart. So
Yep.
we want to be the best we can be for the patients.
Yes, and we are every day. I know what a great job y'all do. I hear about it all the time, and
Oh, you do? That's great.
I do. We just need to share that. So.
And we're lucky in this community that we have so many resources for the patients out in the community. You go to conferences and you'll talk to other people from other areas who have to put their patients on a waiting list to go to the nursing home, or a waiting list to get home health, and we really don't have those issues in this area. We
No.
really are very lucky.
We're very fortunate. That's a great thing that you've pointed out, because we do have great resources. The community itself, by nature is such a giving community and such a thoughtful community as a whole that they create what we need oftentimes. I know
Yes.
that with ASU, if the hospital needs certain things, there's certain areas to be developed. I'm thinking of help me with the word, nurses here, phlebotomist.
Phlebotomist,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. That type of thing, if we need more, then they will create classes so that we can have more that be able to come and be more trained at the hospital. So,
Absolutely.
and speaking of training, I think the most important thing to get out today as well is with what you do. You'd mentioned going to conferences and that type of thing. I don't know why when I've talked with people, they somehow seem to think that once you graduate with your degree in nursing that you're done. And it's an ongoing, I mean...
Oh, we wish that were true.
Yes. You have to stay... Go ahead and...
Yes, well, for some of us, like the three of us that do clinical documentation, we are actually certified in that area, which means we did additional study. We tested to get board certified. That gives us an extra level of expertise. Also, some of the case managers, I'm certified in case management. And again, that gives us a little bit higher level of expertise. It's all extra training that we put in the time for. It's not something that is required in the field, but it's something that is very important in our department and at our hospital as a whole, is to continue in education, whether it be Wendy's working on her bachelor's degree in nursing right now. I've already got mine. There are lots of nurses going back for their master's degrees and additional certifications just for the point of keeping current in the field and our fields of specialty. And again, that's something that at other hospitals it's not usually required. You see different amounts of participation in that, but it is something at our hospital that we take very seriously.
Yeah. And it's strongly encouraged, and absolutely, I can think of at least 8 or 10 nurses right now that are working on their masters.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then working on specialties as well.
So while yes, you can get a degree in nursing and then stop there, hopefully you wouldn't want to because it's such a changing field.
It's growing by leaps and bounds.
I mean, it's almost impossible if you don't continue on with some, in-services or workshops or conferences to stay current. So,
good piece of advice.
Yes.
Thank you both so much for joining me today. We're just delighted to have you, as always. And Karen, I know we'll have you back again, filling in the future.
Anytime, I'd just love to do it.
And Wendy, will you come back and see us again?
Yes, I will.
All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today for BRMC's Healthy Connections. We'll see you again next week.